Now, for the last few weeks, I've been taking calls about the current state of this team. And sometimes it would be about Kyle Schwarber and his MVP chase. It would be about Zach Wheeler and the fact that he unfortunately won't be able to be the ace of this staff for the postseason. Potentially, it seems like it's trending that way. And so many other things. But every time Topper gets brought up, there is a mixed bag of emotions. And I personally believe that Rob Thompson has done an amazing job this year, to the point where he is proven to be one of the best managers in the sport. You could put him in a top 3 category, debate some others, but he is absolutely in a top tier. The way he handles personalities is rare. It's hard to do. I don't think many managers can look at Nick Castellanos in the eyes and say, you're not playing because we have Max Kepler to slot in there against righties. Trey Turner, since he signed here, it hasn't been the most glorious performance by him, to the point where he needed a standing ovation. Look at the way he's playing now. What I think Topper does inside that clubhouse is he really does put his confidence in a lot of these men. Trey, keep going at it, baby. I believe in you. I know what you can be. I know how special you are. I know you're a superstar talent. Now, it took a longer time than I would personally like, but I do feel the way that Rob Thompson handles the personalities, handles the low lows, handles the high highs, is why we are in the situation that we are in currently. Taijuan Walker. There was once drama where there was monster beef between those two. I haven't heard 1 ounce of anything negative about Taijuan Walker and Rob Thompson's relationship since, and now we're at the point where there's so much respect and there's so much professionalism out of Taijuan, there's a bit of a resurgence. Winning games with this club and this bullpen before Duran, I think, is extremely impressive and goes to the manager. If we're going to sit here and complain that Dave Dombrowski failed miserably with the offseason, giving Rob Thompson a poor deck or a poor hand with the deck of cards to play with, and then they're 20-something games over 500 throughout majority of the season prior to the trade deadline and getting a serious closer, that means Rob Thompson has done an excellent job with what he was given, and what he was given wasn't a lot. And I put out a Twitter poll, and I asked the question, of these 3 choices, how would you describe Topper's job so far? The options being amazing, a fine job, and he'll always scare me. My choice is in last place. 10% of voters think that Rob Thompson, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, with this record, with all the weird, I guess, deficiencies or flaws that this group has, 10% of people think he's done amazing. 20% of people are always going to be afraid of him. Afraid of him? Truth be told, Topper, while you can look at a couple of decisions, he's not the reason why they haven't won a World Series. You could win a World Series with Rob Thompson. He's not why they lost the World Series. The Astros were better. Game 6 and Game 7, the offense fell apart because they are built in a very flawed structural way, and their offense can't consistently do it. And that's been their kryptonite. But that's why they're losing to Arizona, not Topper being a bad manager. 70% of the votes are sitting at he's done a fine job. I think that's ludicrous. I really do. I think that's absurd. Alec Boehm lost a lot of time with injury. Bryson Stott has barely been able to produce anything offensively until late. Late, it's been incredible. But I also think that goes back to the way Topper massages these type of issues behind the scenes to install confidence in a Bryson Stott, where we believe in you. You are great. You can do it. You are a big piece to this puzzle. We will make sure we get you back on track to help us pursue a championship. And now, this 9-hole hitter role looks to be something that's super intriguing. 215-592-9494. How would you describe the job that Rob Thompson has done so far? Amazing? Fine? Or he'll always scare you? I want to know where this city is right now with the state of the manager. For me, it's pretty simple. He's done amazing. I really mean that. I think he has done such an amazing job. It's not even funny. I don't even think I could put it into words, which means I'm terrible at my job because that's my job, but that's how good I think he's done. Let's take a listen to a couple pieces of audio here that I think really reflects his style, his demeanor, and the way that he keeps this clubhouse intact. So, the first one. This is Rob, and I played this yesterday, but I think it's honestly very important to hear again because it's the way he delivers his message. It's the tone when he's talking to his team through the media. This is Rob Thompson on the resiliency of this group.
Rob, not only the end of a long stretch, but coming out of the Wheeler news, second time everyone in your lineup has hit, starters all pitched well. What did you learn about your team, maybe, or what does that say about your team these last?
I really didn't learn anything because I know who they are, and they grind, and they're resilient, and they fight. And Wheels' news is awful, and I feel for Wheels and his family. But they're not gonna cancel games on us, so we got to keep playing.
Love it. Absolutely 1,000% co-signed the approach that he took there. And now let's package that up with the way Rob Thompson talked about Christopher Sanchez taking the ball after Zach Wheeler left the team to deal with the blood clot and to be with his family and to do what's right for his health. This is the way Rob addressed the media in regards to Christopher Sanchez being ready for the moment.
Well, I think he'll handle it fine. He's grown up so much the last couple of years. I think this is just really nothing to him. Really, I think he's going to go out there and beat Chris Sanchez and just do his thing.
And Rob couldn't be more right because his last start, did you hear the ovation he got when he got taken out of the game at the right time, by the way? Unfortunately, Orion Kerkering did have a bit of a blow-up. There were a couple walks. There was some bad umpiring behind the plate. But I thought Rob Thompson handled that well. And also, the reaction Christopher Sanchez got from the fans, he took that ball and he showed me a lot. Now, I was excited to see what type of performance he would have for the first time since the Zach Wheeler news came out, and it was fantastic. But I love the way Rob handles this. It's Sanchez, baby. He's going to do his thing. I think Rob Thompson pulled Luzardo properly in the last start. I think he pulled Sanchez properly after that walk in the last start. And I just think he's a really damn good manager, and we don't talk about that enough. And I'm aware that the players have way more of an impact on things than the manager. There's only a certain percentage of games that managers even impact. It jumps up significantly in the playoffs compared to the regular season. So when I talk about this, and we do this case study together at 215-592-9494, it's with the full mindset of, with what managers can control, Rob Thompson does an amazing job. There are some things I critique. There are times I wish he gave me more fire. There are moments I would like him to do some things a little differently. But full body of work. You don't have a club that is this flawed, playing 20-something games over 500 and having the stones to talk to Nick Castellanos the way that he does, to sit him down for a Max Kepler. You're not sitting him down for an Aaron Judge. You're not sitting him down for, not that Aaron Judge would be in the lineup, ain't it? But you get my point. We're talking about Max Kepler, who almost lost his job in Major League Baseball. It's a very difficult convo to have. Not anyone knows how to push those buttons the right way, or not everyone would always do it. But Rob Thompson has done it because he knows what's right for this team. And he's like, I got to do what's best for this group, whether it's easy or extremely difficult. And I think Rob Thompson has done an amazing job. Now, let's go to our fine producer this afternoon, and that, of course, is Luke Nichols. Luke, I need to get your thoughts. When it comes to Topper, amazing, fine, or he'll always scare me. Which would you vote on?
Yeah, he's been fine. I think he's been fine. I think, so, with Topper, and I will say, he's been better the last couple of weeks. But my main issue with him, really from starting the beginning of August, my main issue is that he's just given Castellanos the same spot in the lineup every single day. He hasn't disciplined him like he did in Florida against the Marlins. I called them the Florida Marlins and the Miami Marlins. It's been 10 years now. But my thing is, he still hasn't took him out for defensive purposes. He's still in right field in these close games in the 8th and the 9th inning when he's not due to bat in the 8th or the 9th inning. He's still out there, and it took him so long to move him down in the lineup. I mean, I was yelling about how if you're not going to take him out of the lineup, if you're going to keep him in the lineup every single day, he can't be batting 4th or 5th. He has to be 7, 8, 9, something. He finally moved him down to 7, and the lineup has been better. I mean, they had the most hits since in a 3-game series since 2007, I think it was, against the Mariners, because he was either 7th in the lineup or he wasn't in the lineup at all. He was not contributing. He just was not contributing at all. And he's still bringing in Romano every now and then in these situations where he doesn't need to be in. Like against the Reds, whatever it was a week or two ago, he brings him in and he allows a couple hits and he allows the grand slam. Then he looks defeated and it's like, what did you expect? And then he has his reasoning of, oh, Romano's going to be, he's either going to give up 2 or 3 runs or he's going to have a shutdown inning. Duh. I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah, but Romano's not going to be pitching in the playoffs. So this is a regular season beef.
But why are you bringing him in still?
Because he's on this team.
Why is he on the team?
That's a Dave Dombrowski problem. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to complain, and to your point of the order, at that time, Bohm was out. There were a lot of guys that were underperforming. So, unfortunately, your only option to try and get any right-handed power was Nick. And it's a roster-flawed issue, not a Topper issue. If guys aren't hitting and Bohm's not in the lineup and you need to find ways to fill out a 4 and a 5, the reason why JT and Nick are batting that high is because you're that desperate, because the roster's flawed more than it is Topper loves Nick. There were just no out. Kepler almost lost his job. You had to send Rojas down. Brandon Marsh started to get on a nice streak, and they put him at 5 for a little bit. But that's why you have to shove Nick out there constantly, is because there were really no one performing at a high enough clip to remove him from the games.
I get that, but even if you kept him at 5, you have to take him out in these 8th and 9th innings when you're in these close games. He is a terrible right fielder. If you watch him, you can tell with your eyeballs that he is a terrible right fielder.
Okay, but weren't you screaming? If you look at the
advanced metrics and the advanced stats for his defense, he's still terrible.
Were you screaming that Max Kepler needed to be DFA'd?
Probably.
Well, then how would you then scream that Max Kepler has to play in right field over Nick if you needed him DFA'd at the same time?
It's a long baseball season. But that's the thing. I'm not... Because I didn't expect Castellanos to go in this just insane stinker that he's been on. For the entirety of his career, before the season, I said, you know what? Castellanos is going to go through ups and he's going to go through downs, but the ups are going to be great and the downs are going to be really bad. I'm fine with that. I can live with that. We haven't had an up in months. I mean, if he went through a stretch of 2 weeks when he's hitting 290, 300, and he's hitting a few home runs, and, he's working the gaps. Nicky Two Bags, I think, is one of his actual nicknames on Baseball Reference for whatever reason. If we got that version of Castellanos for even 2 weeks, I would have been fine with DFAing Kepler. We haven't had that. We haven't had that in months. He has been all-time bad. I didn't expect him to be this bad. I mean, I wasn't a huge Castellanos guy, but I didn't expect him to be this bad. And even then, it's not even about the offense. Take him out for defensive purposes. I mean, your outfield to end a game in a close game, it's a 4-2 ball game against the Mets in a week. Your outfield should be Bader in center, Kepler in left, Marsh in right, or flip Kepler.
We may get that.
Castellanos does not need. If he's out there in a close game against the Mets or the Brewers or the Dodgers or whoever, I'm going to lose it, because he has not done it since Castellanos yelled at him against the Marlins.
But he's also in a different position now where he's not even starting him in games against right-handed pitching for Max Kepler. So we're in a different mindset. And this is what I think is happening with Rob Thompson. 215-592-9494. I think what's happening is he's becoming the face of the bigger issues. Because you're bringing up this Nick stuff and how bad it is and how awful it is, and you would have never expected it in a million years. And that's totally correct. You're 1,000% right. But that's a Dave Dombrowski problem. I find it that it's even more of an amazing thing that Rob Thompson has this team in this position with that failure of Nick, which that failure of Nick is not a Rob Thompson problem. That's a Dave Dombrowski problem. You're handed a big contract right fielder who, in theory, should be a right-handed power bat, and your other option is Max Kepler, who should be DFA'd, and those are your two people to choose from out in right field. How can Rob Thompson win? There's no way for Rob Thompson to even win in that situation. So what happens is Rob Thompson becomes the face of the issues that Dave Dombrowski left you with, and then you start getting mad and aggravated with the current state of the team and thinking that that's a Rob problem, but it's really a Dave problem. So Rob has actually done an amazing job. If you're telling me Nick has stunk forever, the bullpen was awful without Duran prior to the deadline, you have the Rangers second half issue, the Luzardo can't pitch out of the stretch issue, the Aaron Nola's not available for 75% of the season problem, Alec Boehm isn't healthy for you, and Bryson Stott can't hit a lick, and you had to deal with all that. And Rob Thompson looks at the standings and sees a team that's 20-something games over 500 and playing their best ball right now. I think that's credit to Topper to the point where he's been amazing and not just fine. Let's go to the phone, shall we? All right, let's go to Brett in Philly. What's up, Brett?
Hello?
Hello, Brett. You are on the air, my friend.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I got you. What are you thinking?
Okay, what I want to say is that you guys talk about the manager Topper. He's one of the worst managers in baseball.
Okay.
He's absolutely lifeless. He has no energy.
Okay.
And he doesn't know when to pull a pitcher.
Interesting.
Some of these pitchers, he lets them stay in there after the fifth and the sixth. Luzardo.
Whoa. When do you want a starter pulled? When do you want a starter pulled?
If you watch your players, you know that after 5 innings or 6 innings, and they start to struggle, then immediately you start. First of all, he doesn't have anybody warming up. He starts warming up after they've walked 2 or 3 batters. Then he starts warming people up. And
now, do you think that's going to be the case in October? You think he's managing August 8th the way that he manages in October when it comes to getting guys out of games?
I don't know. I will say that he's done a little better job now with pulling the pitchers, okay? But even the other day, when they were hitting Sanchez.
Yeah. Whoa. He pulled Sanchez perfectly. He pulled Sanchez perfectly.
No, he didn't.
When should he have pulled Sanchez? When he was throwing a sick game after 6?
After the first, when he walked the first.
He did! That's when he pulled him, Brett!
No.
Yes, he did!
Okay, well, so that's my only issue. I just want to say that.
But Brett, you said you want him to pull him after the first walk, and that's when he pulled him after the first walk, so he's doing what you want.
I don't remember exactly. Okay, I don't remember. What I want to say is that he shouldn't have even gone there in the 7th.
But that's crazy.
Okay,
he was pitching the gem.
He's done a better job. A few weeks ago, when he let Luzardo stay in there too long, he did this. So he just needs to pull pitchers, not wait.
For who though? Who's the bullpen arms that are so dominant that you want to pull guys?
I don't give a damn.
Well, they don't. But no. That's part of the manager's job is to know what's better. Brett, there needs to be a better option. You can't just pull someone and say, let's put out this bum like Romano who's got a 7 ERA every night.
Well, then Romano shouldn't even be in the.
That's a Dave Dombrowski problem, not a Rob Thompson problem.
Okay, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to handle the pitching.
Then how do you get to the World Series and the NLCS without knowing how to pull pitchers?
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No. He's already established himself as someone that can go to Game 6 in the World Series against a team that's better than you. The Astros were better than you that year. He goes to if he was so incompetent, Brett, then you're not even going that far in the playoffs over the last few years.
Right. Well, he's got a great team. So you got a great team with a mediocre manager, okay?
No, that's so not. That is so unfair. That is so unfair.
Look at. Well, that's just my opinion, and
that's a bad one.
Doing a little bit. I will say that he is doing better in the last few games, pulling the pictures.
So that means he's better than you think he is.
Remember the time where he led? I think. He left. Who did he leave in there? I think it was Luzardo.
Yeah, but do you know how many managers allow their pitchers to go?
Like 9 runs. They scored like 8 or 9 runs on that poor guy, and he just let them beat him.
Yeah, of course, but you're acting like the alternative manager will be will bat 1,000 in every decision throughout the regular season. Yeah, he's had a questionable decision here and there. You don't think Charlie Manuel ever made a mistake?
Well, no, I'm not saying that he hasn't, and I'm sure all managers do. And baseball is the most difficult game to play and to manage because you could be great. These last few games, the Phillies have been awesome, playing awesome ball, and in the next tomorrow against Washington, they may not even score a single run. That's the way baseball is. That's how baseball frustrates us as players. The one last thing I want to say, and thank you for letting me speak, because I've been trying to get to you guys for years.
I got you.
And that is that as I'm from Chicago and I'm a White Sox fan, so and a Bears fan. And look at what a great city Chicago is, and we don't have anybody like the Phillies. I've been in Philadelphia for 20 years now, and I'm a big Philly fan, and I'm also big, just sports fans here. So we have to appreciate the Phillies and the Eagles that every year I get a chance to come home and today I wanted to run home and watch the Phillies. I remember then I said, they don't play today. They play tomorrow. So
all right.
As fans, we're real critical, and I'm the most critical of all of the fans.
I see that.
But I will say thank you, Phillies, for just giving us a great run. No matter if they don't make it, the fact that we're in it right now is an awesome thing. Think about people like the Chicago White Sox and how much we struggle in Chicago to have a winner. We haven't had anything.
Well, you should hire Rob Thompson, and thank you, Brad. I appreciate the call. What in the world was that 180? Whoa.
The sharpest of left turns. Didn't see that coming.
Not even a Phillies fan. But I hate Topper. He's holding everything back. But we got to appreciate this team, whether they win or lose, because we got to take pride in the runs we have.
I mean, he said he's lived in Philly for 20 years. He can claim a Phillies fandom and Eagles fandom at this point, especially if the White Sox are the alternative. The White Sox stink.
I agree.
The Bears stink, too. I mean, they could be good this year, but they probably won't be. But that came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. We're on top of the world with phone calls today.
We're 4 for 4.
We're 4 for 4. We are 4 for 4. And all jokes aside, listen, I love you guys for calling in. You guys are phenomenal. I really do appreciate it, whether we agree or not or whatever. It's all fun. But I think that's unfair to Topper. To me, that made it seem like Topper stinks. Well, this one time he left Luzardo in 5 weeks ago. Well, there's always going to be a point where he left someone in too long in July. But if you think the way he manages a game against the Nationals in late July is going to be the same urgency he has in October, it's just physically impossible. Rob's a baseball man. He's been around baseball his whole life. He knows the importance of getting somebody up in October compared to getting somebody up in August and July. And you can't just pull your starter after 5 innings. Your bullpen won't survive the year if you're just one walk and then he's getting pulled. What? You can't just pull your starter in the 5th after one walk every game. Your bullpen will never work. And your bullpen's not even that good to begin with prior to the deadline. So that's where I think the anger of Dave and the lack of talent he put in this pen factors into the way that you feel about Topper as well. 215-592-9494. Wow. Just a curveball. Let's go to Rob in Potsdam. How's it going, Rob?
Brodes, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I want to start off on a positive note. I couldn't agree more with you on Hurts and with that McNabb comment. Thank you for bringing that up. Hurts is clutch. He's clutch.
He's awesome.
On two Super Bowls.
He's awesome. Well, he won one,
really
but
nothing to argue about that he's an awesome quarterback.
That's right.
People that, it's a joke. But anyhow, hey, what do you think for the Flyboys this year? You got a playoff spot for us this year?
Here's why I can't go there yet, Rob. I just don't think they have a goalie, man. I really don't. This Urson tandem with the Vladar pickup that they got in the offseason, I just don't think they have the goalie, and I still think that this is nowhere close to being together where it needs to be. It's moving in the right direction. I think we're definitely way farther ahead than we ever were with Chuck Fletcher, but until you get a goalie, it's really hard, and I'm sure you know that too.
Yeah. I just every time I see Brodsky in net, it's just like how the heck did we get rid of this guy?
Stanley Cup dominant. Not only did you lose somebody who, look, if he ended up having a good career, we'd still cry about it. This guy is an all-time Hall of Famer, Rob. It's not just good. This guy is elite and dominant and just winning Stanley Cups. It's ridiculous. It hurts my soul.
I hear you. He absolutely is. So now I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on Thompson on a few things.
Okay, we can do that.
I do agree with you that he's a very good people person.
Mm-hmm.
I believe part of that is to a fault. I'm going to name you a couple quick examples here that didn't make me happy. And I got to say, the first caller you had on tonight that said baseball's easy compared to sports. I don't know what he's obviously never played.
Rob, we've had a tough run in the start of the program. We love all callers. We love all callers, but sometimes it's a tough day at the office. That's all.
I hear you. So it really upset me when there was no consequences to the Braves for what happened to Harper.
I agree with that.
6 weeks.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I don't see a fire in his belly, Brodes. I just don't. He should have got tossed in San Francisco when that nitwit Cuzzy was just blatantly jobbing him because he was ticked. They were complaining, and he didn't even come out.
So this is all fair criticism. I think what you're laying out now, I think Rob Thompson is, let's say, 97% really good at what he does. But the 3% that I think I would love more out of Rob are exactly the examples you're bringing up. Someone needs to respond to Bryce. When you have Orion Kerkering throwing 9 strikes in a walk somehow, I need you to lose your cool. I need a couple of moments where he loses it. I wish Rob had that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wish Rob had that.
I'm old school. I remember I'm in my 50s. I remember the fiery managers, and I feel you have to have that. The other thing I don't think he has, Brodes, is he doesn't have a very high baseball IQ. And I'll tell you why I say that. He left Nola in way too long the other day. Something that I don't know if anyone brought up. The night Duran got hurt was not a save situation. So Duran, being the closer that he is, he's fired up like nobody's business when he's got a closer situation, when he's in to close a game. There's definitely an energy loss, for a pitcher like him when he's coming in a non-closer situation.
All right, can I counter the Duran point? So we had Scott Fransky obviously calling the games here on WIP, and he said that time that he was brought in, you're right, it was a 4-run game. It wasn't a save situation. But when Rob Thompson acquired Duran at the deadline, he sat down with Duran and asked him what he liked his schedule to be, how many days off before you need to be used, what your comfortability is, and things of that nature. And the timeline with where they were was the window that Duran gave him, where if I'm not used by this amount of time, I would like to be thrown in there. So Rob is using his people skills to ask one of the best closers what makes you great and how you'd like to be used, and then he's making his decision based off that. Now, does that change your opinion at all on the situation, or do you still hate the idea even after talking to Duran?
No, I was completely unaware of that.
Okay.
I mean, if he's telling Topper that, then, hey, I got to go with that.
Okay.
I just feel, and maybe subconsciously, I just feel like he just did not, he's still, that's fine, but I still don't think he was as fired up and keyed in as he would be in a safe situation.
I think those guys do thrive off of, and thank you, Rob. I really appreciate it. We're up against the break here. But those guys do thrive off of the intensity of the moment, the game having that pop and all that. And it's a 4-run game against the Washington Nationals team. But I think that actually gives Rob Thompson leeway. The fact that Duran comes here, he's one of the best closers in baseball, and he says, yo, Top, this is my regimen. This is the way I go about my business. This is how I like to be used. So if this is what we need, I'm here for you. Let's go do it. And then Topper pushes those buttons. I think that's what a good manager would do. I'll get more into that Nola thing coming up next, though, because people were upset with how long he left Nola in. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but he was getting carved up. Nobody's discrediting that part of it. But I don't think it was that egregious, and I'll tell you why coming up next. And taking your calls, Ron, you will be first. 215-592-9494 if you do want to get in on your feelings with Rob Thompson. It's Brodes with you on 94 WIP.